Imagine this. You're walking into your garage late at night. It's dark, the air is still, and you brush against a web stretched across the corner. Then, your flashlight catches something. A small, shiny black figure, clinging to its web upside down, and right there on its belly, a glowing red hourglass. Your heart skips a beat. You've just come face to face with one of America's most infamous spiders, the Black Widow. But is this deadly creature truly as terrifying as legend says? Or is there more to the story? Let's find out. The Black Widow is one of the most talked about spiders in the world, and for good reason. At first glance, it might not look that threatening. The females grow only about an inch long, and males are even smaller. Compare that to a tarantula, and they seem tiny. But what makes the Black Widow unforgettable is not its size. It's that unmistakable shiny black body and the red hourglass marking on the underside of its abdomen. That marking is nature's warning sign: stay away. People across North America know this spider by name and often by reputation. For decades, the Black Widow has been at the center of myths, urban legends, and even Hollywood movies. It's portrayed as a silent killer, lurking in the shadows, waiting to strike. And while the truth is a little more complicated, that reputation didn't come out of nowhere. Because when it comes to venom, the Black Widow is a master of chemical warfare. The Black Widow spider is instantly recognizable by its sleek, jet-black body and the famous red hourglass marking on the underside of its abdomen. But here's the catch. Not every Black Widow looks exactly the same. Adult females are the ones we all picture, shiny black, with that eerie red marking. Males, however, are much smaller, often half the size of females, and their bodies can appear brown or even gray with tiny white stripes. Because of their smaller size and weaker venom, males rarely cause harm to humans. It's the female that holds the real danger. On average, a female Black Widow measures about 1.5 inches long, including her leg span. But don't let her size fool you. This tiny spider has built up a reputation far larger than her body. Their webs are another way to spot them. Messy, irregular tangles of silk that look nothing like the neat, circular webs we usually associate with spiders. Another interesting fact? Their silk is amazingly strong. In fact, scientists have studied Black Widow silk for its potential use in high-strength materials. Imagine bulletproof vests or medical sutures made from spider silk, all thanks to this little creature hiding in your backyard. This is where the Black Widow's legend really begins. Her venom contains a powerful neurotoxin called latrotoxin. Drop for drop, it's about 15 times more potent than rattlesnake venom. But there's a catch. Unlike a rattlesnake, a Black Widow doesn't inject a large amount of venom, which means most bites are rarely fatal. Still, the symptoms can be terrifying. Within minutes of a bite, a person might feel a sharp, burning pain, followed by muscle cramps, abdominal pain, nausea, sweating, and even difficulty breathing. The condition is called latrodectism, and while it's rarely deadly in healthy adults, it can be extremely dangerous for children, the elderly, or those with weakened immune systems. Here's some good news. Thanks to modern medicine, anti-venom exists for Black Widow bites. Hospitals in the U.S. are equipped to handle cases, and deaths from these spiders are incredibly rare today. But go back 100 years, before anti-venom was developed, and a bite could be a serious, life-threatening event. What's really surprising is how rarely they bite. Black Widows are actually shy spiders. They don't go looking for trouble, and they almost always bite only in self-defense, usually when they feel trapped, like if someone accidentally sits on them, puts on a shoe where one is hiding, or reaches into a dark corner without looking. The Black Widow's bite has become one of the most feared in North America. But what actually happens when this tiny spider sinks its fangs into a victim? First, it's important to understand that not every bite delivers venom. In fact, many times, the spider performs what's called a dry bite, releasing little or no venom at all. But when it does inject venom, the consequences can be intense. The venom of a Black Widow is a neurotoxin, known as latrotoxin. This chemical targets the nervous system by causing an excessive release of neurotransmitters, basically overloading the communication between your nerves and muscles. The result is a cascade of painful symptoms: severe muscle cramps, abdominal pain, nausea, sweating, and sometimes difficulty breathing. In the early 20th century, before modern medicine, a black widow bite was considered extremely dangerous, and deaths were not unheard of. Today, fatalities are rare thanks to antivenom and effective medical care, but the pain alone can be debilitating for days. People often describe the cramps as feeling like a full-body Charlie horse that just won't go away. What's surprising, though, is how small the amount of venom is. The spider injects less than a milligram, yet that's enough to overwhelm a human nervous system. For perspective, drop for drop, black widow venom is estimated to be 15 times more potent than that of a rattlesnake. The difference is that snakes deliver much larger doses, while the widow delivers just enough to immobilize smaller prey. And here's a fascinating twist. Not all people react the same way. Some barely notice the bite, while others are incapacitated for hours. Children and the elderly are the most vulnerable, which is why hospitals take any suspected black widow bite seriously. So while the spider rarely intends to harm humans, its bite has earned it an infamous place in American folklore, a symbol of silent but deadly danger. The reputation of the black widow goes far beyond biology. In American culture, this spider has become almost a legend, synonymous with danger, fear, and dark beauty. Movies, books, and even music often use the black widow as a metaphor for a femme fatale, a mysterious, deadly woman who lures in her victims before destroying them. The spider's very name evokes images of seduction and death, which has fascinated and terrified people for generations. In rural America, especially during the 20th century, warnings about black widows were passed down like campfire stories. Farmers working in barns or sheds were told to always check under wooden boards, inside boots, and even in piles of hay. The idea of reaching blindly into a dark corner and encountering a widow became a common fear. These stories contributed to the cultural myth of the spider being far more aggressive than it really is. Interestingly, the black widow has also been used in science and technology as an example of nature's engineering. Its silk is incredibly strong, often compared to steel in terms of tensile strength, and has inspired research into new materials. Scientists study it for potential applications in medicine, construction, and even bulletproof fabrics. Imagine a future where fibers inspired by the black widow could save lives instead of haunting nightmares. Pop culture has further cemented its place in American consciousness. Think of Marvel's famous Black Widow character, or countless horror films that use the spider as a symbol of lurking terror. Even the way we use the term Black Widow in everyday language, referring to a woman who outlives multiple husbands, shows how deeply embedded the spider is in human imagination. But here's the irony. Despite its terrifying reputation, the real black widow is shy, cautious, and avoids humans whenever possible. It doesn't chase, it doesn't hunt people, and it only bites as a last resort. The creature we fear so much is, in reality, a small and fragile spider, far more interested in staying hidden than becoming a monster in the night. So, the black widow's legacy is a mix of science and storytelling. On one hand, it's a fascinating species with unique biology. On the other, it's a cultural icon, shaped by human fears and imagination. This dual identity, part reality, part myth, is what keeps the black widow endlessly intriguing. And there you have it, the mysterious, dangerous, yet misunderstood black widow spider of America. From her shiny black body and crimson hourglass to her powerful venom and her role in American folklore, the black widow has earned her place as one of the most iconic spiders in the world. But remember this, behind the fear and the legends lies a creature that is simply trying to survive. The black widow doesn't hunt us, doesn't chase us, and most of the time, she wants nothing to do with people. In fact, she plays a vital role in keeping insect populations under control, making her more of a hidden guardian than a true enemy. If you enjoyed learning about this fascinating spider, you'll love what's coming next. On this channel, we dive deep into the world of America's most incredible and sometimes terrifying spiders, creatures that most people only see in shadows, but that play a vital role in nature. So don't miss out. Hit that subscribe button, Give this video a thumbs up if you learned something new, and share it with a friend who's brave enough to watch. And get ready, because in the next episode, we'll be uncovering another spider species that might just surprise you. Until then, stay curious, and maybe check those dark corners before you reach in.